Hey, everybody, welcome to What the Flick, Gotham, episode 205, Scarification. Francis, Alonso, we got no Bibs this week. We had no Francis last week.
What is going on?
It's a thing that happens sometimes. Anyway, so yeah, we haven't seen you much this season.
I know.
Are you still on board?
I'm still I caught up a lot. I had a bit of a Gotham binge the last few nights I was out, but I wasn't so fond of this episode as I was the beginning of the season. The beginning of the season, as I said, really reintroduced me to what I thought would have been great about this show, is if they focus on one real plot and have the suspected Joker really take fold. But now we're going back to the whole Penguin scenario, which isn't a bad storyline.
Well, I like that they've given him somebody to connive against again. I think he had it too easy there for a while, and so he needs somebody to undermine.
Yeah, and again, we'll bring up the point, like, what time is this airing? Is this network TV? Like, they're showing more, like, gruesome stuff every week. What about that arm chop? Like, I thought they were just going to do it and they were going to, like, cut away and show it as, like, a full bleeding arm.
And an off-screen thumb. Oh, actually, no. I thought it was a thumb cutting. We find out later it was an eyeball gouging. Yeah, this is for 8 o'clock. Anyway. I mean, there were things I liked about this episode. Like I said, I like that they give Penguin somebody to connive against, because that's, I think, when he's at his best. I found the whole this is one of the more interesting Selena usages I think I've seen in the show, both in her understanding about that she has this status as somebody that Fish really liked, and that she's the conduit to kind of hook up the Penguins guy with the with the arsonist, and then the Bridget story. Now, is Firefly a thing in DC Comics?
That's what I'm thinking. Is that going to be the case? Because you did get that. You seen her innocence, and then she was like, I actually kind of liked it. I liked being involved, and when she's been pushed away as the kind of Cinderella of the house for that long, when she's introduced to the chaos, she's going to kind of like it a little bit and get that role. I did feel bad for the cop that got that got burned alive by her. And what I do like about this new partnership forming in the in Gotham Police Department is that there's that sense of camaraderie. They never had that before. It was always kind of Jim
was the one good cop.
Yeah, Jim and Harvey was his friend. And
goodish.
And now we have this team, and it seems like when one of them passes on, even though he wasn't a character in any sense of the way we never really were introduced to him, they all care about it, and they have something to push forward to, and that's something that I think was a little pushed away from last season. Like, we understand that there's some conflicts in and amongst the police department, but not everyone is rogue. Not everyone is kind of going to, like, because it was I
think everyone is, but then that's not as dramatically satisfying as having more than one person besides Gordon who's, you know, a good cop.
Exactly. Because when there's a team of them making an effort, it seems like they do have a strong case. Because some of the time when you have Harvey and Jim going out against a group of thugs with an arm to the teeth, you just got to think, all right, this isn't believable. Surely they would have to take a shot once in a while. But I do like that there's that team fighting against them. What I wanted to talk to you about, how cute was the double date?
That was pretty good.
Do you believe this whole Enigma phase that's going on, or do you think that it's just going to be a matter of time? Like, I do like how they're posing him as likable, and he's finally getting his happy ending, and then obviously something's going to snap.
Well, I mean, again, remember, what we're seeing is, you know, he's got two combating personalities, and the one who is winning at the moment happens to be the charismatic one.
Yes, exactly.
But we shouldn't, by no means think of that as being a good thing necessarily, or that he's on the right track. But I think Bibbs and I talked about the fact that, given, Miss Kringle's history of abusive boyfriends, she's clearly drawn to the darker aspects inside of Enigma as well. So she may wind up becoming sort of his Harley Quinn in a way.
That's what I thought at the start when she was when we were introduced to her. I was thinking, like, she would be the perfect Harley Quinn, but it's whether or not that could be a good spin that they would put on it. That Harley Quinn is drawn to the Riddler rather than drawn to the Joker.
And I love the whole thing of don't get me started. I could analyze you. I could psychoanalyze you like nobody's business. Because I think Gordon has definitely taken a darker turn this season. I mean, he had already kind of been compromised in certain ways, but as this goes along, it's like, again, I think I pointed this out before. This show is creating a Jim Gordon who is got a lot more skeletons in his closet than the Gordon that we've known before. Or maybe, either we weren't told about them or they didn't exist. But this version, he has definitely made some deals with the devil along the way to becoming the top cop in Gotham.
It's very similar to the famous speech from Gary Olson in The Dark Knight Rises, when you have to plunge your hands into the filth in order to keep others clean. Like, that's similar to what he has to do. What I wanted to touch on is, first of all, who's the mayor candidate's father now? It's come in. He's been in tons of things, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Oh, the guy who plays brother or whatever?
No, the guy who's his father that we were introduced to at the very end.
Oh, I didn't catch who that actor was. Vamp, I'll look it up.
Because I've seen him in many different things, but what I wanted to touch on is, do we believe that a knife I know there's so many different things that we can believe in this show, like there's characters that have certain aspects to them that kind of bend what we're supposed to believe in traditional criminals, but is it all coming down to this knife, and this knife is cursed and is going to be used as Penguin's main weapon?
That's Ron Rifkin.
Yeah, I was thinking,
okay,
I was like,
I did not recognize
I've seen
him.
I was like, I've seen him in everything.
Although I was surprised. I thought that Ed Ouija was going to be a bigger deal character actor. Not that the woman they cast wasn't fine, but season 1, like, people like Lily Taylor were popping up. Like, they were really, filling these kind of one-time roles with bigger names. Anyway, I'm sorry, what was your question?
Well, it was do we believe the knife? Like, this whole, like, supernatural side to it. I was like, does it have sentimental meaning? Is it going to really get Penguin the upper hand?
I feel like it's more symbolic than it is supernatural, although I don't buy that it's still sharp, but, we'll let that one go. Yeah. No, I mean, I think clearly they're setting it up. Like, Gavilan has been saying, I always get his name wrong, has been saying the whole time that, that he's avenging his family, and the Waynes erased them from Gotham's history. So I don't know that we're supposed to believe the knife has any kind of mystical power to it. I think it's just that it's symbolic power, is the key thing here. And Penguin is right to see that that's a weakness, because this is personal and this is, emotional now, and that's something he can exploit. And exactly, and he obviously used this story that he was told as a literal way to get ahead by chopping off poor Butch's arm or hand. I guess it's like Butch has just dealt, literally now he's dealt with the worst hand, and he only has one hand to deal with it now. He's had to face being manipulated by Penguin for so long, and now that he's going to have to move over to that side. But I want to know, like, with Penguin's situation, is it not still emotional for him though as well, because he's still vouching to try and get his mother back? So clearly, but I mean, but everybody knows that, and that's on the table. This is a new wrinkle, and Penguin's always on the lookout for the thing that not everybody knows that he can exploit to his own benefit. So we'll see how that plays out when we're back next week. Hopefully, all three of us. But thank you for watching.